All right, guys, how you doing tonight? We are going to be looking at the first issue of Invincible in the first compendium. We're still going to be working on The Walking Dead. We're still going to be working on Secret Wars, but I want to start on Invincible as well, so we can get a couple different concurrent things running. And I think it'll be a whole lot more fun that way. Expand my videos to a broader demographic. So we're going to start with issue number 1. Oh, right here, get that in frame. There we go. He's flying over the Arctic or something like that with somebody that looks like has a bomb attached to his chest. He just throws the person. The person blows up. He doesn't even try to take the vest off him. The person just blows up with the vest on him. He falls out of the sky. And he says, if I keep this up, I'm going to give myself a heart attack. We're flashback to 4 months ago, where Invincible is just sitting on the toilet. And then he's getting ready for school. He asks his mom where his dad is. And his mom says, he's just had a lot of trouble at work lately. And then you see on the TV, it looks like a superhero fighting a dragon over in Taiwan. Omni-Man is what he's called. Okay? And so, guy is sitting there watching his dad on the TV fight the dragon. And he goes to school. He goes to school. He says, he has to be at Burger Mart in 20 minutes, probably as an after school job or something like that. He's at Burger Mart, he's taking out the garbage. He goes to throw it in the dumpster, and the bag garbage goes way up in the air. And he says, it's about time. Like he's getting his superpowers. Sitting down to dinner, you know, mom says, doesn't look like dad's going to be home soon. And whoosh, he whooshes in. Dad apologizes for being late. Asked him if he took care of the dragon. He said, yeah, once he found out who was controlling it. Bitter banter back and forth. And Mark says that his day was fine. He thinks he's finally getting his superpowers. At night, he climbs out of his the window in his room. He's on the roof, and he says, "What the heck?" Takes the plunge, and he floats there, and now he can fly. Right? Pretty cool stuff. Then we flash over to a bank robbery, or it looks like a bank robbery or something like that. A diamond heist is what it was. And apparently we have this other super that can turn himself either into rock or sand or something like that. And the guy says, just because the bullets bounce off me doesn't mean they feel like back rubs, which is always true. People have, people always like, well, Wolverine's healing factor, blah, 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 blah. Well, just because Wolverine heals fast doesn't mean he doesn't feel pain, right? So, and they're jumping over the fence. And all of a sudden, kabam! This guy comes out of the sky. And he just trounces the brick. And then you got Omni-Man there in his normal clothes. And Mark tells his dad he's had his powers for 2 weeks. And he's wearing that disguise so nobody will see him when he flies. Nobody will recognize him when he flies, rather. And his dad says that he's going to introduce Mark to somebody that's going to get him a proper costume. Hence the proper costume. Mark asks him what the discs are for, and he says, "Oh, that's when I." And the guy says, "Oh, that's when I thought your dad's powers were based on solar. So they're solar batteries." And then the guy asks him. He said, "Hey, did you come up with a name yet?" And Mark says, "No, I haven't thought anything about it." He says, "Well, if you come up with a name, we can come up with a costume that fits the name. Probably be a better way to do it." Mark is at school. Slayer shirt. That's kind of cool. Uh, Mark sees somebody getting pushed around by a bigger guy at the lockers, and he tells the guy just to lay off the smaller guy, and the bigger guy comes over and starts putting his hands on him. Tool. Cool band. And Mark uses a little bit of his super strength to shove the guy into the locker, and I mean into the locker, it dents it and everything else like that. Next, Mark gets put in the principal's office, and the principal says, you know, to be quite honest, I condone it, but you could have gotten a teacher or one of the security guards. You know, guy's almost twice your size, yada, yada, yada. He says, you're not invincible, you know. And you can see Mark's face light up with the word invincible. And here we come to a good old-fashioned bank robbery. Okay. And they're leaving the bank. They push people over. They run across the street. Cars slam on their brakes. The guy that was in the getaway car comes running around the corner. And they say, Steve, because I guess that's the guy's name. And you kind of see the shadow of a car there, right? And the other guys look up in wonderment as to wonder what the heck is going on. And you see Mark there. He says, you guys looking for this? And he has the car hoisted above his head. And one of the guys pulls his gun, says, drop it, freak, or we'll blow you away. Mark says, I wouldn't try that. I'm invincible. And that's the end of the first issue of Invincible. Pretty cool so far. I have never watched the Amazon show, and I've never read the comic books before, so this is a first for me. Of course, I read it before I do the review. We're going to go through issue 2 next, see what that looks like. All right. Y'all subscribe to my channel for more content, and thanks for viewing. Okay. Oh, like the video too. All that normal YouTube stuff. All right. Have a great one, guys. Bye.